Hello, welcome to the Film Pulse Podcast, the official podcast of filmpulse.net. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is episode number 167. My name's Adam Patterson. With me today, Kevin Rakestraw. How you doing, Kevin?
I'm doing pretty good.
I'm doing pretty good, too. Mostly because of the movie we're talking about this week, Mad Max Fury Road.
Oh, I thought you meant Slow West.
No, but we'll get to that. So we're going to be talking about Mad Max Fury Road as well as Slow West. Both have kind of a Western vibe to them.
And it's odd that they both have one thing in particular involving a hand and arrows.
Yeah.
That are like exactly the same. What are the chances?
I thought that was kind of interesting. So we'll also be going over some of what we've been watching, and of course we'll be going over this week's movie predictions, new on video on demand, and DVD and Blu-ray releases. Remember, you can send us your questions to podcast@filmpulse.net, and also be sure to check out our Patreon page at patreon.com/filmpulse, and consider subscribing for as little as $1 per month. You'll be helping us out tremendously. Let's just go ahead, dive right into it. Just dive right into Fury Road.
We're going Mad Max first.
We're going Mad Max first. We're going big.
That sucks for every movie that we talk afterwards.
Yeah, I know. But whatever.
You guys are shit out of luck.
I've been chomping at the bit to talk about this movie. Now, we were going to get Ernie on here, but he had to work today. And it was just a little bit too early because he's over on the West Coast. So this is written and directed by George Miller. I have a synopsis here. In a stark desert landscape where humanity is broken, two rebels just might be able to restore order. Max, a man of action and few words, and Furiosa, a woman of action who is looking to make it back to her childhood homeland. This stars Tom Hardy, Charlize Theron, Nicholas Hoult is in there, Zoe Kravitz. That's pretty much all of the Angus Sampson. Did you recognize him?
Yes. And oddly enough, I was just really happy for him.
Yeah.
And I just kept thinking, man, he's got to be so excited.
I bet he was really excited to do it. Rosie Huntington-Whiteley's in there as well. So Kevin,
Quick question. Where is she from? She looks so familiar. Rosie Huntington-Whiteley.
She's from Transformers.
Yeah. I don't know. Not sure
she's
where.
From Transformers: Dark of the Moon.
Not sure where I would know her from then.
Yeah, I think she's like a model or something.
I would imagine.
I think she's a Victoria's Secret model.
Okay.
So, Kevin, we'll start it with you. What'd you think of Mad Max Fury Road?
Good Lord, action. Jesus. Oh my goodness. It's relentless. Wow. I was
if you're a fan of action, then yes, this is it.
Even for me, I'm not a big explosions guy. Explosions don't really do much for me. Car combat usually and car chases don't do much for me, but here, Lord have mercy, did it work.
It takes everything to the next level. The thing about the explosions, if I remember correctly, now I've only seen this one time so far, but I do plan on going back to see it again. If I remember correctly, there's only a couple, one big explosion that sticks out in my mind.
Yeah.
It's not like chock full of just explosions everywhere, but let me tell you,
there's a lot of fire.
There's a lot of fire, yeah. There's definitely a lot of fire, because there's a lot of flamethrowers being used and flame guitars. That one explosion scene, I know I'm getting ahead of myself, but that one explosion scene was amazing. Oh my God. It blew my mind.
The thing that got me, because again, there's a shit ton of action. It's kind of ridiculous how much action they were able to jam pack into this thing. And essentially, when you get through the first half of the movie and you're like, damn, that was a lot of action. That was just nonstop. There's no way that they can top that. And then they triple it, which I don't know how the hell they did that.
Yeah.
And you're just like, my God, it's exhausting in a good way. But the refreshing thing about it was the way all the action is framed, everything is clear and concise, and you could see everything that's
Yep.
happening, and
Yeah.
just the spatial relations of everything was fantastic.
Everything was smooth and so precise, so meticulously shot that you don't have any of that bullshit shaky cam Michael Bay stuff where you don't know what's going on, you have no idea, uh like spatial relation and how things are set up. Like you know exactly where everything is and what's going on with each of the characters. And
Yeah,
there's a lot of characters and there's a lot of shit happening all at the
and
same
you got,
time.
you're they're they're shown in so many different angles, and then I love the fact that occasionally he would just pull out
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
just show you the scope of what's happening,
Yeah.
and you're just like, Jesus Christ,
And there's
get me back in there, please, get
yeah.
back in there.
The scope of this movie is massive. I can't even imagine the undertaking
Yeah, and
of
just the amount
making this movie.
the amount of just creativity
Yeah, the world building.
just in the cars alone.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, the cars alone are incredible looking, like the tank one and the just every single one of the cars
I
seemed like it had its own personality.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's one giant rig that's just devoted to music,
Yeah,
just to
it's got,
soundtrack the fight.
yeah. I like the speaker one, the speaker car.
The speaker card, it's got the tiered drummers, the
Yep.
guy with the guitar on the front.
Yep.
Oh my goodness, it's just ridiculous. It's so outlandish, and
It is
oh my goodness.
yeah, it is a big, sprawling, crazy, chaotic movie.
And then they're getting close to the storm, and you see the storm on the horizon and them going into it, and of course the camera pans out and just keeps coming out, backing out. And it's just like, Jesus Christ, can this storm get any bigger? And are they going to go into the storm? And what's that going to look like? And then they do, and just I screamed like a little girl.
Yeah, yeah. Pretty much right after this movie started, I reverted back into my childhood form because I was giddy the entire time. I was so excited. I didn't want any of it to end. One of the really crazy things that I liked was the characters that were on the giant poles up in the air that were swinging around.
I, that's yes. I'm glad that you point this out because they keep adding to these car fight sequences, like new characters and new means, and it just just the amount of creativity that goes into that. It's just
Yeah.
everything, every new thing that was introduced was like, damn, I like that idea.
Well, I love it. I love it because each car, and they showed this a lot throughout the movie. Each car had its own like gadgets and things, and it was like this is the perfect time to use this ability on this car. And they would show them like pulling levers and like pushing panels out of the way and stuff like that. And it was just like, this is crazy. This is so intricate what they're doing here. And it was like they had so many different weapons and I mean, and they were like spray painting their mouths with silver spray paint.
Crow. And I just another thing that I really appreciated and I really liked was the mystery to a lot to like
Right,
with
yes.
the
Yeah.
chrome spray paint in the mouth.
Yeah, and
That's
that's
not
exactly what I was
discussed.
going to
It's not
say.
explained. It's just there, and it's
And
just a
like,
part of the world. And you're just like, let's fucking go with it. All right, let's just spray chrome in our mouths before we die. Why not?
and the one scene when they're in that kind of swampy, muddy area, and you see those weird people walking on the stick things.
Yeah, it's just added. You never come
Like-
back to it. It's not
Yeah.
explained, and you're just
Exactly.
like, I love this, and I want to know what this is. But
Exactly.
Miller doesn't do that. He won't
And I
tell me
think
what it is.
I think that adds so much to the film where he doesn't explain anything to you. It's like you get the smallest amount of backstory with Max, and that's it.
Yeah.
Like that's it. You see a little bit at the beginning, and then some periodic flashbacks, very brief flashbacks throughout the movie. But it's like, okay, Furiosa Charlize Theron's character, she's missing an arm. Oh, we don't see some like bullshit touching moment between her and Max where she's telling him about how she lost her arm. No, you don't. There's none of that.
Yeah, Max doesn't look over and he's like, "So, how'd you lose your arm?"
Yeah,
It's none of that. And you just get bits of her past as well. Just
right,
some,
exactly.
like small bits of dialogue and not, which I think just it works so well in creating these myths of Max and Furiosa. Just and it immediately, at least for me, and I'm sure for you too, and a lot of other people, it just immediately want Mad Max 2.
Right.
Because you hope that
you
those weird pole walking people
yeah.
show up in Mad Max 2 and you get to see more of that and what the hell is all that about.
Yeah, I think that George Miller set up this post-apocalyptic world that at its core this is a very simple story. This is a car chase. This is several gangs of people chasing a group of people. That's all this is. But there are so many little other things happening that you're just like, wow, this is like such a rich world that he created that I want more. I want to live in this world. I want more stories coming from this world. And what he said was regarding the timeline and all that stuff was that he regards Mad Max as sort of like a myth, like a legend, like stories that people tell that get passed down from generation to generation. So really, by setting it up like that, you can tell an infinite number of stories.
Well, it's also very interesting going with that route. If it's kind of like stories being passed down. And generally, those stories get more and more exaggerated, which is what these movies are doing. They're just getting more and more ridiculous.
Yeah,
because I love the fact that Max in this one, and a lot of the other people too, to be honest, are indestructible. Like people are surviving car wrecks that have that should not happen. They should just be bits and pieces of flesh and giblets. But no, they just pop up at the end. Like the one war boy pops up at the end. He's like, "Hey, I have a boot of his," and you're like, "There's no way you fucking survived. How did you survive?"
Well, a lot of people didn't survive, though.
Some people did not know.
I love the visuals in this movie were out of control. They were tippy top notch.
I love you called him tippy top.
I did call him tippy top. Every aspect of this movie, I thought that this was one of these movies that you could just pause it and take a still of basically any scene and frame it and put it on your wall and it would look great. I thought it was gorgeous.
I would worry about your psyche if you were doing that, but yeah, you could do that. I would just be terrified if I walked into someone's house and they had Fury Road framed everywhere.
Well, if you had I'm talking about like one.
Just one.
Not like an entire wall, not like a mosaic of.
Yeah, the visuals are quite nice, and the stunt work is, oh my goodness.
I just love that. Even though this is a big chase scene and it all takes place in the outback, Miller was able to mix up the locale. Like he was able to make the settings feel different. Like the muddy scene and the giant dust storm, and he was able to make it feel different. And there was like that one scene where it was kind of dark and everything looked blue.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that was fantastic. I love those visuals. Because that just came out of nowhere too.
And I think that one of the best scenes, that there was that huge action scene at the beginning of the film. I mean, like enormous action scene, and then you have it just cuts to complete silence, and there's this like shot that they just linger on Max and he's buried in the sand.
Oh my God.
And then the slow motion of him coming out of the sand.
Yeah, just everything how everything transpired, because that's in the storm. And with the flare, which is another thing that I love. Even though the action is relentless, there is intermittently throughout the movie, there are just instances of where the cinematography just shows such great patience. Right. Of like how it just holds on the flare until it dies out, and then it's straight cut to silence of what you can't quite figure out what the hell it is, and it's just him very slowly emerging from the sand.
Mm-hmm.
And the very, very beginning shot of where Max drives off and the camera just stays.
Right. Yeah.
And then all
Yep.
of a sudden you have the people chasing him just zipping across. Oh man. Oh, it's
Yeah.
great. I love it.
I
Love
love
it.
I love the score of this movie.
I did
thought
not.
that
I was,
I loved it. I love that.
I was not a big
That's
fan of that.
I was a big fan of the score. I thought it was great.
Now,
Yeah.
okay, so we've been gushing hard, real hard for a
Yeah.
little bit here. Let's get into some things that we didn't like, if you have any, which
Well,
I'm not sure if you do, but
I read your letterbox review, and it seems like the main thing that you had a problem with. I agree, and that's the dialogue.
yeah. But it's
Uh,
it's kind of,
I
what do
agree
you,
with
what do you
you.
expect? It's like I have a problem with it, but it doesn't take away from the overall greatness of the film. I don't think there's just a couple instances where I'm just like, ugh.
I think that the dialogue fits with the other Mad Max movies. Like it in the other Mad Max movies, the dialogue was kind of sparse and just pretty generic.
Yeah.
And I think that it just kind of fits in with those where the villains are very cartoony.
Well, see,
And
for me was the a couple instances where they try and go for the emotional, where they try to hit you home with the emotional. Mostly like, what are you looking for? And Furious is like redemption. Just like, come on.
yeah,
And Tom Hardy's like, oh, what was hope is a mistake or something? And I'm just
yeah.
like, Tom, just keep your mouth shut. Come on, bud.
He is
It's not
a
what
man of very few words though. He
Well,
doesn't
I was
talk
so
a lot.
confused. I was extremely confused at the beginning because he's just like grunting and he's just like
Yeah.
motioning and he's not like he doesn't talk barely at all and he's just like water and he's just like grunting and I'm just like what happened to Max? Is he like I don't know if I like this Max, but then he starts to come around and starts to
Yeah.
actually talk occasionally and act like a human being.
I don't know. I think maybe the mask that he was wearing had something to do with
I know,
it,
but
or
I've noticed Tom Hardy grunting in a lot of things. I don't know why he's always grunting.
he does grunt. He is kind of into that, into
He's
the
all,
grunting.
he's
I
all,
thought that he was a good choice for Mad Max, though.
yeah, because
I
he does crazy so well.
Yeah, and I think that Charlize Theron was a great choice for Furiosa too. Let's talk about that because that's kind of one thing that a lot of people seem to be latching on to is the feminist angle of this movie.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Now did you see it? Did you know about the feminist angle before going into it?
The only thing I knew was that like men's rights activists were like boycotting
Which
or
is I
whatever.
don't even
So
understand that, but
for me, instantly anytime that happens, I'm just like, yes, I need to see that. I love anything that irritates them. Because for the longest time, I didn't know that they were real. I thought that was like a joke thing, but then I came to find out that they're real and sincere.
well, I don't understand why they would be up in arms over this.
Because these women are strong and doing things on their own.
But Max is
I
there.
know, that's what I've thought. And
It's
I'm like,
called Mad Max.
that's what I don't understand either. I mean, it's like I can appreciate the feminism in it, and it's like it's great because it's men and women accomplishing a goal, and it does the female characters themselves, their strength and their action and everything they do. It doesn't feel condescending in any way whatsoever. Like, yay, they're
No.
women. It's just they're badass, and there's just a bunch of badass people in this movie.
Right.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, it was interesting. Nothing about this movie felt exploitative. You know,
Yeah.
nothing about it felt like there's a scene where they meet up with these kind of elder women, and beforehand there's a woman that's perched up on like a tower, and she's completely naked, but you don't see anything. You know, they kind of shoot it so that her private parts are covered up. And I don't know why I actually took note of that. Like, oh, because like in most movies like this, they just show you everything.
Yeah. It's like this is a perfect opportunity.
Right. And while I wouldn't, either way, I wouldn't have a problem with it. I thought that it was interesting that George Miller was like, well, it's not necessary.
Yeah.
It's not necessary to show that within the context of the story, so I'm not going to bother. And I thought that was kind of just, it was just an observation I made.
And I loved when they teamed up.
Yeah, because they were badass. The old ladies.
They were the best. You kidding me?
Yeah, they were badass.
And they're snipers. They're fucking snipers. What more do you want? Because I was kind of thinking, like, man, this movie could use some snipers. And then, bam, snipers show up. Come on. Like, read my damn mind.
Now, the villain in this movie was actually the villain in the original Mad Max.
Which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah, I thought it was cool to bring him back. And was his name in this? Like, Bone or...
Immortan Joe? Immortan, I think.
Immortan Joe, yeah.
Immortan Joe?
Yeah, Hugh Case Byrne.
Played Toe Cutter.
Toe Cutter, that's... Yeah,
the original.
Toe Cutter.
That is just one of the best villain names ever.
I thought that he was a pretty good villain in this. He is pretty crazy looking and
he's
evil
disgusting looking. Just disgusting. But again, the amount of creativity that just goes into just the look of his character. And that you can tell that they just put so much time and thought into his look.
Yeah, like the clear armor and this crazy mask.
Yeah. And just you could tell that they did that with essentially every character. You could immediately look at, either if it was a character or, one of the vehicles or one of the different landscapes. You're just like, you immediately are just struck by, damn, look at the creativity and thought that went into this.
Yeah, I mean, everything from the costuming to just the way, like the face paint on them and stuff, and the cars, the buildings, the structures, everything. Like it had so much detail. Like Furiosa's arm, her fake arm, and just like the way that thing looked. I mean, it just, everything had so much detail in it. I loved it. I loved every aspect of the design.
And see, that's something that I love and appreciate. I just love seeing the creativity, and because it kind of, one of the, we're talking like blockbusters here and stuff, and it's a nice counterpoint to, and I hate to do this, but the Marvel movies. And this is something that bothered me with, what was it? Guardians of the Galaxy. I just didn't see that amount of creativity. It's like, oh, okay, so how is this person different? How are they alien? Oh, we painted them green. It's just like, really? That's all you did? They're green? Come on.
I completely agree. I think that this is... When I was watching this movie, I was thinking to myself, I cannot believe I'm watching a movie like this. And I saw this at AMC Prime with the Dolby Atmos and the giant screen. And I was watching it at an AMC in Times Square. And it's just like, this movie exists. This is a big budget blockbuster popcorn movie.
You see the Warner Brothers sign come up with blood all over it.
It's rated R. It's rated R, first of all, which in and of itself is crazy. Secondly, it's weird. It's a weird, out there movie based on a franchise that's 30 years old. How does this exist? And when you see the movie itself, it's not like any other big blockbuster popcorn movie. It's completely different and unique. And even the way it's shot, it favors practical effects over CG, and the camera work in it feels very much like Mad Max, like with the quick zooming in, like they pan out real far and then zoom real close into like the drivers through the windshield. And I don't know if you noticed, but there was some speed ramping going on, like, with the characters at the beginning. Yeah, and I loved it. I loved it.
I'm still not a bit. It's better than it was in the Road Warrior, because the Road Warrior for me, because that's the one I just saw before where the speed ramping almost it gave everything like a farcical feel. Like it just to me it didn't work here. In Fury Road, I thought it was much better handled, because I think it worked really well in the sense that there's just this overall feel of delirium and
Yeah.
Fury Road, where it's
It
just
just
like this is like someone injected me with gasoline.
hmm
And now I'm having a terrible reaction to gasoline because you shouldn't put gasoline in your body. Don't do that.
Well, I just actually that reminds me of that scene where they're trying to outrun
Well,
the other
that's
car with the and they're spitting the,
well,
the gas into the.
well, that's one of the things that I do like, which I can see maybe has like a feminism slant to it, is kind of this just slyly making fun of masculinity and how ridiculous it is, like the war boys, how ridiculous they are. Like when they get their steering wheels and they're praying and
Oh
they're
yeah, yeah.
yeah, like witness me and all this shit. And just that moment of them squirting it into their mouths to squirt it from their mouth into the engine while also squirting it from it was just ridiculous. It was a hilarious like dick measuring contest of how badass these guys could be.
Yeah.
I
I loved it.
loved almost everything about this. I hated
Yeah,
that little 3D bit. I didn't see it in 3D, but I
I
hate
did.
those moments where you're watching a movie not in 3D, but you
And you
can
notice,
tell
yeah.
you can tell like, oh, this exists only for 3D. When it was the guitar like comes out of the screen and then comes back and then the
Well,
steering wheel comes out. I'm just like, stop this. Don't do this.
so yeah, I did see it in the AMC Prime, which is like I believe kind of the AMC equivalent of D-Box, where the seats were shaking the whole time. And I did see it in the 3D, and it looked great. The 3D looked really good. It was the real D 3D, so that it was the kind where if you kind of like turn your head or tilt your head, it's not gonna distort the screen. And it wasn't, at least the theater I saw it in, it wasn't like too dark or anything. That's another thing that typically happens with 3D movies. It looked good. It wasn't great. If I had the choice, I probably wouldn't have seen it in 3D.
I was gonna
But
say, is it something that like should I have to go back
no,
and see in 3D? Did I miss something?
no. It generally I don't see movies in 3D unless they were shot in 3D, and I don't think this was shot in 3D. I think this is post converted. The only reason I saw it in 3D was that I wanted to get the reserved seating because I've learned that pretty much any big popular blockbuster type movie that I see here in the city, I pretty much have to go reserved seating or else it's a nightmare. So, and I wanted to see it on a big screen, like a huge screen. So it was only in 3D.
I can't wait to see how it holds up on my 20-inch TV with the volume
with the
like
volume
barely
free.
barely barely audible. See if it holds up then. See how
Yeah,
good
this
Mad Max Fury Road is then under those conditions.
I'm gonna try to go to the IMAX and see it again and see how it fares on the IMAX. But I imagine it's gonna be amazing.
I would
As
imagine.
yeah.
I would imagine.
I want to get back to the stunt work a little bit because we touched on it.
Give them every award ever.
We touched on it, but I feel like with this movie, it deserves to be mentioned that the stunt work in this movie is incredible, and it's a mixture of CG and practical, but I think the majority, and it's the type of stunt work and special effects where it's very difficult to tell what is CG or digitally enhanced and what's just straight practical, but a lot of it looked real to me.
A lot of it terrified me, and
It was crazy,
I'm
just
just
crazy.
I just can't stop thinking like I really hope that person's okay.
Yeah, yeah. Especially the people on the bikes. You see a lot of bikes wrecking and people flying off bikes, and you just know that that's a real person that's happening to. A lot of people jumping from car to car, a lot of people hanging off of hoods and roofs of cars, and
I'm wondering what those people's mothers like. How do they react when they're watching this?
they're probably terrified.
They're just terrified. Poor mothers,
Probably.
just having heart attack after heart attack.
The crazy thing, the thing that really impressed me a lot was the fact that there were so many components involved with a lot of these big set pieces, where it's like giant caravans of cars merging into one clusterfuck of metal and chaos. I mean, it's just because at one point there's multiple gangs going after them. So sometimes you have like multiple gangs attacking them, and it's so crazy.
They just keep adding gangs too. You're just like, okay, so we have like two gangs. Oh, here's a third gang. Oh, now
Yeah,
there's four gangs.
which I loved. I loved that they did that, where it wasn't just one group that was going after them.
And
There was
I
multiple.
just love I can't remember who. I don't know if it was the Bullet Farmer or whatever, one of the other baddies, where he's just like, where he, kind of points out that this is just all over a family squabble.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like this is a lot of work and resources are going into this.
Yeah.
This is outlandish.
Yeah. Yes, it is outlandish, but I loved it. One of the things that really impressed me that kind of every now and then during the movie, I had to kind of take a step back and just think about how crazy this production must have been, and the scene where they were trying to get the big monster truck over the wall, the rock wall, when they collapsed the cat. Just when they did that one kind of overhead shot where they were panning and you could just see how many people were there and all the cars, and then you have this big monster truck trying to get over this rock wall, I was just so impressed by the scale of this movie. I was just like, holy crap, it's amazing.
They got that fucking monster truck over that rock pile.
Yeah, they did.
It's just like, Jesus Christ, this is like a Fitzcarraldo moment.
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah. It's crazy. All right. I know that was a gush fest, but I knew it was going to be anyway.
We gushed all over it. Gushed so fucking hard.
I think that this is one of the few times that most critics, most every critic is in agreement that this is one that you absolutely have to see.
I know. Yeah, I don't see how you couldn't think that.
I mean,
even if you're not your type of thing, it's fucking impressive.
Yeah.
What they do. The fact that every car is functional. I mean, just imagine the people that had to do that.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I need you to make this a giant rig of drums, flame guitars, and speakers, and it has to be able to drive. Can you do that? And someone fucking did that.
And you have to have a giant pole sticking out the top that somebody can climb up and swing around on.
Yeah, and then you have two guys at the bottom that, swing it back and forth to help out.
Yeah.
And it's got to be able to function. People made that.
It's wild. It's an absolutely wild movie. I know Ernie saw it 3 times already.
Good Lord.
Yeah, he went to 2 press screenings and then he saw it at the IMAX. So I know that he loved it. He reviewed it on the site and he gave it a 10 out of 10. I'm also going to have to go with the 10 out of 10 on this one. I was just movie of the year for me. Hands down.
I feel like an asshole because I'm not giving it a 10 out of 10.
Oh, you don't have to give it a 10 out of 10. It's your prerogative.
Well, thanks. That makes me feel better. I'm gonna give it a 9.5.
There you go.
Just missed it.
And like I said before, the complaints that you have, I recognize those, but it was so it didn't bother me at all. Like it didn't even,
which I can completely understand too.
Like I loved everything else so much more that, at any rate, if you haven't seen Mad Max, just God, go see it. Even if you weren't, because again, we talked about this last week on Ryan Watches Movie. Neither you nor I were huge fans of the Mad Max series.
No, I'm not a big
the original
fan of them at all.
So to go into this and just having that kind of reaction, I was just made it even better. And a lot of it's interesting because a lot of critics who are normally contrarians and love to go against the grain and typically hate movies like this. I mean, you typically hate movies like this that are like the big Hollywood blockbusters.
Yeah, but there's just so much damn creativity in there. That's
Right,
what I mean. Like,
right.
how can you not respect this?
Exactly. And I think that critics who are usually very hard on popcorn movies, and also critics who are like to be contrarians just to stir up clicks or
But
whatever.
but also you almost because of that creativity and what you see on the screen and what it is, this weird rated R actioner that's just ridiculously over the top coming from Warner Brothers. You feel almost compelled to champion it because you want more of this.
Well, that's one thing that I started thinking about, because when Ernie saw it, he took to social media and he was like, this is one that everybody needs to get behind. And my initial reaction was, it's gonna do fine. It's a Warner Brothers movie. It's a big studio movie. But then I got to thinking, like, maybe this isn't gonna make as much money as I expect, even though it seems like all the critics are behind this and pushing it. And I think that it's a very what was the budget on this? I think it was a pretty big $150 million budget, which is huge. I don't know. I don't know what's
that is a well spent $150 million though.
Oh yeah. I mean it's epic. This is an epic movie. I forgot to mention the runtime on this. It clocks in at exactly 2 hours. I respect George Miller for doing that, keeping it at 2 hours, because it doesn't feel like 2 hours. It
feels like 35 minutes.
Yeah. This movie flies by. I mean, it's in and out quick. Now, I know that he already said that he's working on they're working on sequels. Tom Hardy signed up for 3 more.
Oh my goodness.
So, yeah, I'm assuming that they're going to be working on more of these. However, I think that it probably all depends on what the box office says. I mean, if it doesn't make its money back, I doubt that Warner Brothers is going to want to do a sequel. And if they do, they won't give him as much money.
Yeah, but I mean, he's proven before that he can deliver with less money, because I'm sure the first 3 Mad Maxes.
Oh yeah,
he didn't have $150 million,
yeah.
But damn,
they were big. They were big. Well, there you go. Mad Max Fury Road. Believe the hype. This is one of the few that I could say absolutely believe the hype and check it out.
Believe it wholeheartedly.
Even if this doesn't seem like your type of movie, just check it out. And I think that people do need to talk about this one.
But didn't it already lose out to Pitch Perfect too?
It did. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't understand that.
Well, the rating may have something to do with it. And I also applaud
that's true.
Warner Brothers for allowing the R rating to stand and to just letting it go out like that. Even though the movie itself is not overly violent, it's not gratuitously violent.
Nah, there's only one kind of grotesque.
Yeah, which is amazing.
Oh my goodness.
You're talking about at the end?
Yeah.
Towards the end?
I just want to say it so bad. I want to say it so bad. But I will say something else instead. Fire tornadoes. What does Pitch Perfect 2 have fire tornadoes? If it fucking does, tell me. I will watch that immediately. But I am pretty sure there are no fire tornadoes to be found in Pitch Perfect 2.
Yeah, something tells me there's probably not.
That alone confuses me. Is that you have an option to go in to see one movie. One has fire tornadoes. The other one doesn't. And you choose the one that doesn't have fire tornadoes? I don't understand you as a person.
Yeah. I don't know either, honestly. I'm hopefully it'll, even if it doesn't do, I mean, Pitch Perfect, people expected that to make money hand over fist because it was a sequel to a very popular movie that's appealing to a lot of people.
Yeah, that's true. It does have a wide, far-reaching fan base.
This is a less accessible movie. A lot of younger people probably never heard of Mad Max and have no idea what it's about, and it just looks like this weird sci-fi movie.
It's just there's two things that I thought were funny because afterwards, I read a little bit more about the men's rights activist guy or whatever that's so upset about this movie, and he was and I forget exactly what he says. I probably should have pulled this up, but something along the lines of like, how could they, mess with an American institution?
What?
And it's like it's fucking Mad Max, dude. What? Like you don't
How's it American
like,
at all?
and then I saw someone else that, sort of said the same thing. They were just like, "Oh, I can't believe that this is what they did to Mad Max, and they made him kind of like a side character, and it's called Mad Max. He should be front and center." And it's very obvious that the director of this remake has not seen the originals. It's just like, wow, you don't know anything.
Yeah. Yeah. It should be noted. This is not a remake. It's not. It's, if anything, I would call it a sequel. I think Ernie said that it's supposed to take place between 2 and 3. That's what most people are saying.
I just see it as just,
but it's
kind of like a reboot type deal where it's just like, okay, let's do another one.
It definitely takes place after 1, I think.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
Because they recap what happens in the first one. So it's definitely after part 1, but it could take place any time between 2 and 3 or after or whatever. But
it's got, yeah. I was going to say it would be after 2 because of the little music box, but that could be before Road Warrior. I don't know.
Yeah, could be. I just remember the music box thing, the one Zoe Kravitz has, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of little... I'm sure that there's all kinds of Easter eggs thrown in there.
Well, and the other thing is, which this is the greatest thing about this movie, is who fucking cares?
Yeah.
It exists, and I don't care where it exists in the Mad Max world.
Right.
It's there, and I saw it, and it was great.
And again, that goes back to what we were talking about before, where the way that George Miller set up this world, it doesn't matter. These are just stories being told. They don't have to be a part of some overarching continuity.
No.
This is just a guy roaming the desert, really, who gets into some shit every now and then.
People are always chasing him. People are just always chasing Max.
I think it could be like compared to James Bond in that regard, where James Bond is a character who has these things happen to him, and you can connect them if you want. You can connect the pieces, and there are little pieces that are in each of the movies that you can,
some
little threads,
character continuity going on.
And I'm sure that you could do the same thing with the Mad Max movies, but
they work as standalones.
You don't even have to see the first one because they tell you what happens in that one in this one.
Yeah. He's just such a simple character.
Yeah, and I think it'll be interesting to see where George Miller takes it from here. Like, I
hope it's more fire tornadoes.
I can't imagine there wouldn't be fire tornadoes.
You would hope.
But at the same time, I'm really worried because after I walked out of this one, I was like, that was amazing, blah, blah, blah. But I'm really worried. I want more, but I'm also worried about what could happen.
What more entail? Can I handle more? It's kind of what worries me. Can I handle it?
Because you saw Road Warrior this week, I saw Beyond Thunderdome this week, and we will get to that one. All right. So yeah, Mad Max, check it out, please. That enough gushing, just go see it. All right, let's talk about some Slow West. This is written and directed by John McLean. I have a synopsis here. Slow West follows a 16-year-old boy on a journey across 19th century frontier America in search of the woman he loves while accompanied by mysterious traveler Silas. This stars Cody Smith-McPhee, Michael Fassbender, Ben Mendelsohn's in there, Karen Pistorius. I think those are pretty much the main
ones.
Okay, I'll start this one off. I thought this was okay. I didn't there were a lot of parts of it that I liked. I liked the visuals. I thought that the fact that a lot of it was very bright and colorful was not typical of a lot of Western movies. A lot of times in Westerns, everything's just kind of colorless and brown.
Yeah, this is a more verdant
Yeah,
Western.
I like the fact that this is a lot of times you have really bright blue skies in the backdrop, and I liked that. I've read, I don't know, I saw a blurb somewhere where they're saying, if someone said, I think maybe it was on Twitter, that this is if Wes Anderson directed a Western, and I can kind of see that in the style of this movie. However, I didn't find it to be nearly as interesting as any Wes Anderson movie, and I didn't find any of the characters to be particularly interesting either. And I felt like almost every single character in this movie was very underdeveloped, and it felt like the movie itself, it just wasn't that interesting. I felt like it didn't dive deep enough into these characters. But let's go ahead and get what are your initial thoughts on Slow West?
I thought it was. I kind of agree with you with a lot of stuff there. I thought it was fine enough. I love the visuals. I love the cinematography. I'm a big fan of Robbie Ryan. It looked great. I thought it was interesting. There's moments in it that are pretty fantastic.
Yeah, there were several scenes. The comedic bits, the arrow scene that we mentioned before. I loved that little scene. That was it was just I loved everything about that scene and how that played out.
Just Boss Bitter just comes over. He's nice catch.
Yeah, I loved that. I thought that was great. I wanted more of that. I wanted more of the comedy in it.
I immediately liked this film just because of Ben Mendelsohn standing up and saying, "Kill that house."
Yeah.
Like, and he's wearing the biggest fur coat I've ever seen.
The giant, like, bear fur or whatever. But that was one of the disappointing things about this, is that Mendelsohn comes in. He's got no personality. We don't know really who he is. I mean, he's some outlaw. And I wanted more Mendelsohn. I wanted more of.
Well, you always, yeah. It doesn't matter what he's in. You want more of Mendelsohn. That's gonna happen.
I feel like this movie could have used maybe one or two more scenes of character development. Maybe a scene involving Ben Mendelsohn and his gang, because when you first are introduced to the gang, when they're all kind of standing or on their horses next to each other on that hill, and it kind of pans across each of them, they look like interesting people. They all have their own look and style. There's some women in there, or at least one that I remember, and they all seem like they're probably interesting people, but we don't really get to know any of them.
No, you just get to watch them get shot.
Yeah.
That's about it.
I wanted a little bit more of that.
It's a very, very simple story. Just very straightforward. But I did like, going back to the moments, there's these little moments where they kind of delve into, the native tribes and immigrants, which I thought was really interesting, but I just, at the same time, I don't know if it just really gelled well with what the main focus of the narrative was. It almost felt like it was two different types of movies, like running concurrently, which was a bit odd.
And at first I thought that maybe they were just including that stuff in there because that's the type of stuff that you would talk about.
Yeah, and that you would come across, and
that's just current events.
Yeah.
But it did seem later on when they come back to it several times, it does seem like there was a message there. But
and again, that I found that very interesting. But much like you're saying with the main focus of the narrative, how there's not much character development, it feels like that side of it too, there's not enough development. Like, it's just like two half-baked ideas just squished together to make a movie. Yeah. And then they're just like, where did we go with this? Oh, let's have a huge shootout. Which
I liked. I liked the shootout.
And again, the comedic. I love that a person gets shot, and then something happens, and then immediately salt gets shot that
Yeah.
falls into their
A
wound.
giant jar that's labeled salt, and it goes into his wound. Yeah, I thought that was great. I love the little quirky
Yeah,
stuff in this movie.
it's got a really odd tone to it. It's it's different.
Yeah. Uh,
Almost to the point where I'm not 100% sure how I feel about this. Like I wish I saw this like a week ago, and then I would have more.
Time to process. Yeah, I
Yeah,
just
you know what I mean? Like right off the
right.
bat, I'm like, it's good enough. I'm not 100% sure if I really want to go back to this film anytime soon. But there is a small part of me that was like, that was really different. I did enjoy large
Yeah,
chunks of it.
it was a different style of western for sure. uh, I felt like it was lacking in character and plot. I wanted more of the story. I wanted because it they set it up to be a really fun kind of adventure. Where Michael Fassbender's this kind of rough outlaw type person. He has kind of a mysterious background. We think that he might be some kind of criminal because it seems like at first he's the only reason he's helping Cody Smith McPhee is to get to Rose and her dad. And I liked the few situations that they did find themselves in. I liked the scene in the general store. I liked the scene when they wake up and they're like underwater because the river came through. I liked that, and I wanted a little bit more of that. Maybe another interaction with the Native Americans or something like that. But I liked the adventure aspect of this. It felt like a road trip movie or something.
Yeah, yeah. The the main thing that really you get off on a bad foot with this movie because of the voiceover, which I
I knew
just
you were gonna. I was waiting. I didn't mention it because I knew that you were gonna say it at some
it
point.
just it pot and it's not good voiceover, and it just like it doesn't add anything,
Uh,
which is the main thing I don't understand about voiceover is like the first several bits of what Fassbender says you see.
mm-hmm.
Like
Mm-hmm.
it's clearly communicated through the visuals
Yeah.
to the point where you're just like, why is there voiceover? Like you don't need to tell me what I'm seeing. I'm not an idiot. Well, I mean,
Right.
jury's out, but I can figure, I can figure most of this stuff out on my own. I don't need Fassbender telling me. And
Yeah.
yeah, that it's just unfortunate because that, how I am with that. Like
I was also not very taken with the voiceover. Didn't think it was very necessary.
oh,
And it's another one of those deals where the voiceover is heavier at the beginning, and then they pull away from it as the movie goes on,
and then they come back to
and then they
it.
come back to it at the end. And it's just like,
Why are you using it? Stop using it.
yeah, yeah. I was not into that very much, but
But you have to say, it's a debut from
mm-hmm.
uh from one of the founding members of the Beta Band. So that's it's pretty damn good for that.
I think it's a good debut. Yeah, I mean,
For a debut from a guy from the Beta Band. Yeah,
yeah,
bravo.
yeah. I
I
think
completely forgot the Beta Band was a thing.
same here.
But there you go. This guy's making movies now.
I'm. It has me excited to see what he comes up with next. I feel like this is a good starting off point, but it's not quite there for me. I just wanted a little bit more. I mean, it's only 84 minutes long, so I think that he could have extended it a bit.
But yeah,
Also,
that's again, that's we're talking about Fury Road and how that felt like it was 35 minutes. You say this one's
this
like
one felt like 84 minutes. Yeah.
this one felt like 120 minutes.
Yeah,
This is like
this one it is the pacing is very slow. It's a pretty slow movie.
it's exactly what it says it is.
Yeah.
Slow West.
Slow West. It's
And this is just a personal thing, and I probably shouldn't even bring it up, but Cody Smith McPhee. Uh,
he reminds me of Jay Baruchel.
he irritates me. He just
I
irritates me.
his character wasn't very likable in this movie. I like how it kind of turned out at the end, though. like,
I bravo on the way that that was handled
yeah, I thought
because
that was kind of a ballsy.
that was different. That was extremely different. That came out of nowhere. I was not expecting that whatsoever. And
Yep,
yeah, I'd like to talk more on that, but it's kind of really the only surprising thing that happens in this movie.
pretty much. Yeah, pretty much. I loved going back to the visuals, the shootout. You know, where he says to kill the house. I loved how they were hiding in the fields, and they would just like kind of pop up and shoot. And I like the character, the preacher sniper guy.
Hmm.
He was a badass, and the way that they handled that character, that was perfect. Like with a character like that, you don't
No,
want
you don't.
you don't want to know anything about him. You want
No.
to keep that person a mystery because you know he's a badass.
Anyone carrying around a gun in a briefcase,
Hmm.
you want to keep them as much as a mystery as possible. Because that's all you need, really. It's just a suitcase with a gun in it.
Yep. Yep.
Custom made suitcase.
Hmm.
But yeah, again, yeah, the visuals were great. The entire sequence with when he runs into Werner, and just everything, like when he wakes up and he's just in that kind of like wasteland area,
Yeah.
and the
Yeah.
framing of him walking up to the mushroom, and then
Oh
the
yeah. Yeah.
framing
Yeah.
choice of Fassbender coming into the frame, and the smoke and the fog. It's just it looks great. It's a great looking movie.
Yep. Yeah. I agree.
It's just a bit thin.
It's just thin. All right. I'm gonna go ahead. Kevin, when are you gonna give Slow West out of 10?
I'll give it like I'm gonna give it a 6.5.
I'm gonna go ahead and give it a. I was waffling between 6 and 6.5. On visuals alone, yeah, I'll say 6.5 as well. We have a review up on the site. Mary reviewed that for us, and she gave it a 6. So this is playing in select cities and on VOD right now. Interestingly, Mary went to a press screening of this, and then we rented it and we got it on VOD. And she said that the VOD version is cropped a little bit. So, yeah. So I don't know if that's the case, or maybe it was just our TV settings or something. But she said she noticed it was like cropped a little bit. So I don't know. But it's playing in select cities and VOD right now, so you can check it out there. I would say light, very light recommend.
I'd say light recommend, but a high recommend just to see Mendelsohn say, "Kill that house."
Yeah.
Like that's honestly that's one of my favorite things of this year
I
from
loved
film.
it. I loved it.
It's that's my favorite film thing of 2015 so far.
Kill that house.
Kill that house. Just the look on his face
Uh,
and his body language when he says it. I mean, when someone says kill that house, you would think that energy would be riding high. You'd be really into it. Not often do you get to kill a house, but he just says it like, oh, I guess we're going to kill this house.
yep. Yeah. Well, there you have it. Slow West. Eh. Let's go ahead and talk about some of what we've been watching. I don't remember who we started with last week. I think we'll start with you, Kevin.
Okay, I watched Winter Sleep. Finally got to watch Nuri Ceylan's Winter Sleep. I've been waiting for this for so long, and I was so excited. And then I saw that it was 196 minutes long, and the excitement dwindled a little bit. But fun fact, it took me like 11 hours to watch it. So it definitely felt a lot longer than 196 minutes. It's a talkie. It is nothing but talk. Just discussions after discussions, endlessly discussing things, philosophies, viewpoints. It's a bit like a play, which is kind of interesting because the main character, Aiden, he runs this like hotel in Anatolia, and it's a gorgeous setting. Oh my goodness. But the occasional landscape shots that you get to see are few and far between. Mostly it just takes place inside this hotel and them just having discussions. So he's a former stage actor and he's trying to work on book of the history of Turkish theater. So it kind of plays out like that, it seems. I don't know anything about Turkish theater, but it's what it feels. It feels a lot like a play, and he's just constantly picking up roles wherever he feels the need. Things just if it seems interesting to him that day, that's who he is for that day. Like one day he just decides that, oh, I'm going to be all about charity, even though he apparently has never done charity before, but all of a sudden he thinks it's a great idea. And so he goes on with that and he just irritates the shit out of people, is what he does. It's essentially just a feature length film, like two feature length films together, of just this Aiden character mansplaining things to people just forever. So again, for as much dialogue as there is, I have to say I'm surprised that it's engaging as it is. But again, you're doing dialogue for over 3 hours long. You're gonna have some valleys in there, which of course there are some where it's just like, oh, please get through this. Let's move on to something else. This is not engaging whatsoever. And luckily those are few and far between. But I mean, it's a solid movie. Just the actual experience of sitting through it's a bit much.
Yeah, I just we got I got an award screener for this one, and I just couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it.
And the thing I loved about Once Upon a Time in Anatolia is that he dealt with the philosophies and the viewpoints of all these characters and what they're trying to get at. They were always kind of, it was very subtle in the way that they were talked about. These, it's just flat out, hey, we're talking about this, and then they just talk about it. It's just hitting the nail on the head for 196 minutes.
Well, I saw a ton of stuff this week, so I think for a lot of this, I'm just gonna very briefly mention it because some of this stuff, I think we may end up reviewing later. Are you interested in that movie Felt?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, I figured we were interested in that, so I saw that this week, but we'll be coming back to that. I believe it comes out the end of June, so stay tuned for that one. I saw Anarchy Parlor, which is this.
I saw a lot of people like this, apparently.
This one is kind of like Hostel. I'd compare it to Hostel. It takes place in Lithuania. It's about a group of college kids who go on vacation to Lithuania for some reason, and they're partying it up. They're hitting the clubs. They're meeting some chicks. They're living life to the fullest in Lithuania, and they decide to go get tattooed because the one guy meets this kind of gothy looking tattooed chick, and she invites them back to her tattoo parlor, and the two of the friends go there, and guess what? They're doing some crazy shit in this tattoo parlor, and they get kidnapped by this guy named the Artist, played by Robert Lasardo, and he tortures them by, he doesn't, like, his whole thing is he wants the perfect canvas. So what he does is he ties you up and cuts pieces of you off, like your back. Like he'll cut your back off.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's really it. The other it's got this absolutely ridiculous twist, a couple twists that happen towards the end. Special effects are bottom of the barrel. Almost everything is CG. It looks awful. I mean, there's scenes where, like, just blood. All the blood is CG, and it's like, what? You couldn't spring for some fake blood? Come on. It looks terrible.
I hate that.
Everything about this movie. There are several scenes. There's one scene where one of the characters goes to he gets mad at his friends, and he goes to a strip club to just blow off some steam.
He just storms off to a strip club.
Yeah, that's exactly what happens. And there's the scene where he's getting a lap dance, and they show like the whole scene for probably three minutes or so of him getting a lap dance. And it's like, okay, why is this happening right now? Why are we seeing this? I don't understand. It's It's just maddening. I don't understand.
It's just an excuse.
Yeah, that's what it is, and it's just there. I love exploitation films. I'm so into those movies. I think that they're hilarious and entertaining and fun. And there's exploitation done well and exploitation that's done poorly. And I think that when exploitation is done well, you don't immediately know that it's happening. You know what I mean? And with this movie, it's like so clearly.
Yeah, you're not sure what their aim is.
I would.
But when it's done poorly, you know right off the bat.
Right. I would. An easy way to know exploitation done right and wrong is Piranha 3D and Piranha 3 Double D. One is done right and one is done horribly wrong. And all you got to do is watch those two and you'll know. But at any rate, Anarchy Parlor is a piece of shit. And it's sorry, my full review will be up when it hits theaters next month.
I love when your reviews just kind of, I can tell that you're trying to be, respectful and trying to think of ways to, form how you wouldn't say, and then when it just falls apart and you just come out and say it. I love when that happens.
Eventually I break down. Yeah, that's true.
You just can't do it anymore.
It's playing on VOD right now, and then it comes out in theaters next month. So.
Oh boy, that sounds exciting. I watched Superfly from 1972.
Nice.
Superfly. This
that's some blaxploitation there.
This is blaxploitation. This is one of those. It's very amateur. Okay, very amateur production. Now it works both ways. Where there's some cinematography that you can just tell that they're not really sure what the hell they're doing, and they're just kind of looking around with the camera and stuff, and it works. It looks great. It's just got that gritty feel to it, and you love it. But then there's the other side of it where there's some of these scenes that they leave in because there's not much of a story here. They kind of like pad the runtime by adding a lot of superfluous scenes that just add nothing whatsoever. And you can really tell when those come on. There's one where it's a story about a cocaine dealer named Priest, which is the best name for a cocaine dealer. And he's just trying to get out of the game. It's too hard on him. So he decides to do one big last deal, 30 keys, make $1 million, and then bust out of there. So he leaves a house, an apartment, whatever, walks to his car, gets in, honks his horn, pulls out of his parking space, drives a little bit, and then it cuts to him walking into another apartment. And you're just, why is there a scene of him driving to wherever the hell he's driving? Why is that there? And there's so many like that where you're just like, why these add nothing? But the performances some of them are good, some of them are downright terrible. Luckily, the Ron O'Neal who plays Superfly or Priest, his is pretty good, but he does stress a bit too much in certain scenes. He tries too hard to convey what he needs to convey, which takes you out of it a little bit. But it's one hell of a story. The only thing that really took me, because I was on board for most of the runtime, and then towards the end where he kind of outsmarts the corrupt police, it just takes this turn into them using the word faggot a lot, which just came out of nowhere and just extremely mean-spirited because the police commissioner's son, I guess, is gay. So, like, that's how he blackmails the police commissioner, is that I'll let people know that your son is gay, which just seemed out of place. And it's tough to swallow. It's just hard. It's hard to get behind that. But there is a funny, one last thing is funny. He goes to punch the police commissioner because he knows jujitsu and stuff. Priest does.
Of course.
So they do it in slow-mo. And the best thing about this is the stuntman for the police commissioner looks nothing like the police commissioner.
Yes.
And they do it in slow-mo. So you have ample opportunity. You're just sitting there like, well, that's not the same person. They don't look anything alike. One guy has gray hair. The other guy doesn't. Like, could you at least get the hair color to match? Oh, my goodness. It's good times except for that last like 5 minutes. It's a bit rough.
And at Superfly, is this? How did you see this one?
DVD
Okay,
DVD'd it.
it might be available on streaming sources as well. I'm really excited. I got an update for the Vinegar Syndrome TV that's going to
Hmm.
be coming out. They changed the name to, I think it's called Exploitation TV now.
Oh, nice.
So what they're doing is they're going to be having other film distributors and companies on their platform. So it's not going to be just Vinegar Syndrome uh, products,
Gotcha.
movies. It's going to be all kinds. So very excited for that platform to launch. I don't know when it's going to actually launch, but I think it's going to be pretty soon. And I'm really excited because their catalog, I mean, their own catalog of movies is stuff that it's just impossible to find.
Yeah.
So it's going to just open up everything. I can't wait. I'll have to probably bring Grindhouse Weekly back when we do that when that starts.
Oh.
I saw a movie called Area 51. This is directed by Oren Peli. It's the guy who did the first Paranormal Activity movie.
Hmm.
And so this is a found footage horror movie about aliens. It's on VOD right now. It's awful. It is awful. I was kind of thinking, because I saw the trailer for this, and initially, obviously, I was like, found footage. Nope. Nope, nope, nope. But then I saw the trailer, and I was like, it looks like it could be decent. It looks like there's some cool effects work. No, there's not cool effects work. The effects work is bad in this. And the characters are stupid and unlikable. And the way that they just so easily break into Area 51 because they take these like pills that I don't know what they do.
Wait, what?
They take these pills that make them undetectable on like infrared cameras, and they wear suits that have Freon pumped into them so they don't show up on like temperature sensing cameras. And basically it's about a group of 20 somethings that decide they're going to break into Area 51. Why, I don't really know,
Sure.
because they're idiots.
I already could not care less about the words that are coming out of your mouth.
Yeah.
It just sounds terrible.
It is terrible.
20 somethings always wanting to break into things.
They're always getting into trouble. Those 20 somethings.
I mean, it doesn't matter where they are. They could be Lithuania, could be any country. They're just always getting into shit.
Yep. It's very, like most found footage movies, very, very slow to get going. I'd say probably they don't break into Area 51. I'd say until let's see, what's the runtime? An hour and a half. They probably don't get in there until an hour in, and then
Jeez.
the last 30 minutes is them in Area 51, which is ridiculous.
So for the
I
first
don't.
for the first hour, you're just left with their charm.
Yeah. Yeah, their wonderful charm. These guys are complete dick fucks. I hate them. Yeah. So they break into Area 51 and they go into these labs, and there's all this weird stuff in the labs.
Labs are
And
always weird.
all like white blood. And I don't know how the guy even knows it's blood. He's like, that's white blood, but how do you know it's blood? It's just some white liquid. Is it labeled white blood on it? I don't think so.
I'm pretty sure that there had to be one other guy in that group that was like, I don't know, it kind of looks like semen.
Yeah.
I mean, white blood, dude.
And they find a spaceship. They find a flying saucer, and the one guy climbs into the flying saucer, and then aliens. Apparently, in Area 51, they just have aliens that roam around the halls because
Well, yeah, I
eventually,
think it's like a collaborative effort at Area 51. I think they work hand in hand.
yeah, maybe that's what it is. And there's there's a scene where they end up in this area that's kind of like a hatching, like a birthing area where new aliens are being hatched. It's so stupid and ridiculous. All of it's just all kind of, it all feels like an excuse to just try to show us something freaky
Mm-hmm.
or creepy or something to jump out and scare us. But the thing is, it's all found footage, so it's extremely zoomed in handheld work where you don't know what the hell's going on anyway.
Mm-hmm.
You have no sense of where these people are, what the room looks like that they're in, because everything is pulled in so far and is so shaky that you have no concept of what's going on.
Yeah.
And of course, there's a big thing that happens at the end and they all fucking die.
Yes. I was really hoping that you would say they all died.
Well, something happens to them. I'm not going to say exactly what happens.
I know what happens.
Maybe they die, but maybe something else happens. Who knows?
Exactly what happens.
So just avoid this. The fact that it was made by the same guy that did Paranormal Activity initially had me interested, but sorry, it's just like every other found footage horror movie. Just
trash.
Bad. The effects work is bad. There's some CG in there, and it looks pretty crappy. Yeah, just Paranormal Activity is a million times better. The first one.
All right.
That's all I have to say about that. Area 51 on VOD now.
Don't get it.
Ugh, no.
I watched the Mad Max 2 Road Warrior, and I take it you watched Thunderdome.
Yeah, I'll talk about that after you talk about Road Warrior.
Road Warrior. Okay. Number one, I'm just waiting for the wheelchair line. That's essentially what I'm waiting for this entire movie. Just to see what was it that just got Ryan right in his chuckle box.
And if you're wondering, listen to last week's Ryan Watches a Movie. We had him watch Mad Max 2.
And that was the only thing he liked. The only thing he liked was the wheelchair line, which I feel bad for him because that didn't come until like towards the very end of the movie. It's just like, man, he's just sitting around in a terrible mood until that guy delivers that wheelchair line, and I just imagine Ryan sitting there going, "Ha, that's it." But this is pretty good myth making here. Again, Mad Max, really simple story. He's just trying to get in and get that gas. Got to get that gas, and then he ends up helping him trying to get that gas out of there, which I don't understand the villains at all in this movie. I just don't get them. They're just driving around constantly.
I think they're just scavenging.
They're scavenging. They're scooting across the desert. They're hooting and hollering. They're just burning fuel like crazy, which makes me wonder, like, where are you getting all this fuel, and why do you need this fuel?
Why do they have so much? Why do they have so much energy? Do you notice the bad guys in 80s movies? They're constantly either yelling or laughing or just they're all hooting and hollering.
They're always making
it's like
a mess of noise. And what I don't understand, it's the desert. I mean, the heat alone. Jesus.
Right.
I can't do anything if it's above 88 degrees outside. I just turn into a mess of nothing. Just slumping around. These guys are doing all sorts of car tricks and motorcycle stunts. But again, where are they getting all this gas? And why did they need the gas at the compound from the Pee Wee football team? Why did they need their gas so bad? It seems like they're doing completely fine on their own because they're driving around constantly. And I don't understand why the compound needs gas. They don't even do anything.
They don't do anything.
They're just there. Sell it. Sell the gas. Something. It seems like a perfect opportunity to build an economy here. But no, that doesn't happen. And then the humongous main villain guy at the end makes a decision that I don't know what the hell's going on. The way that the movie ends, it's just like, okay, this was all pointless. This was just pointless. Because he drives so much further ahead of Max and just turns around and just drives straight into Max. And then movie over.
Yeah.
And then there's a lot of comedy that just doesn't work for me. There's an awesome dog. One of the best film dogs ever. That dog is awesome. The feral I couldn't get behind. And you know me, I'm pretty big on feral children.
Well, that kid's annoying.
He is annoying. Jeez.
Doesn't he look like a young Buster Poindexter?
He does a little bit. And I wasn't ready for the hair that he had. Cause,
oh
boy.
The luscious mane.
My goodness. But, and then the speed ramping is just out of control. I mean, they were speed ramping the shit out of everything. It looks like a cartoon.
Yeah.
I just couldn't get behind it. Uh, I don't know. There's things I like. I love, again, the creativity, the action sequences are great, the stuff that they do, but like the story itself is just stop it, knock it off.
I thought it was fine. I liked it. It looks like I only gave it a 3 on Letterboxd.
I
You gave it a
know,
3.5.
I know,
So
which it sounds like it, but oh my God, that the explosion at the end where they blow up the entire compound.
yeah,
Oh my goodness.
that was a big one.
I don't know if I've seen an explosion bigger than that. That was impressive.
Yeah, that was. I like it. I Of the original movies, I think that part 2 is still my favorite, just because of I thought the car chases were the best in that one.
The car chases are
The,
pretty
the, the
good.
car the car action was the best. Now I saw Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome this week. I think that I saw this when I was little, but I don't really remember. I think again we talked about it last week on Ryan Watches Movie. I think that I saw it on Fox, like when they would play movies on Sundays.
Yeah.
So anyway, I saw this. This one. Oh man, this one feels completely different than the other ones. It feels like a kids movie.
Really?
This is like a family movie. It has definitely kind of a Goonies vibe, or I would even call it like Hook. It has kind of a Hook vibe to it, where Mad Max ends up in this place called, I don't know, what's it called? It's a town. I can't remember the name of the town. Something town. And he ends up. Tina Turner is sort of the de facto leader of this town, and he ends up in this thing called Thunderdome,
Yeah.
and he has to fight against this person. These two people called Master Blaster, and Master Blaster is like this giant person with a little person on his shoulders,
Okay.
and that's great. I love that. It was a great fight. He just fights against Blaster, the giant part, and the fight in Thunderdome is really cool. They hook him up to bungee cords, so they're bouncing around the arena, and it's this caged dome that has weapons attached to like the walls and the roof.
Oh, so you gotta like
it's-
bounce around and try and grab
yeah,
some weapons?
so you bounce around and you grab like a spear or a chainsaw or whatever, and that was a really cool fight. He ends up getting banished, and he escapes and ends up in this weird civilization town something that's all run by kids. It's nothing but kids,
Okay.
and they have some sort of prophecy that this man will come and save them and take them away. And on the wall is a picture of Max. It's like painted of Max, and he kind of takes these little kids under his wing and helps them get out of there. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. There's one big car chase at the end, and that's really good. The car chase is really good, but as far as like the violence and stuff, it's way toned down in this one, and it's really goofy. There's a lot of comedy in this one that none of that worked for me at all. I didn't think it was funny.
I am not interested in any of that. If it's
It's
more so than the Road Warrior.
It's worth seeing just because it is so weird. It is really out there. You're just like, how is this a Mad Max movie? It's so bizarre. But yeah, I don't know. I can't say that I really liked this one. It's something else.
Couldn't get into that Thunderdome.
Yeah.
Why do they always add that? Why do they add kids to these movies? Like, hey, we really liven up this action-packed adrenaline rush. Kids.
Yeah, it's something else. Something else, this one. The tone and the music.
Keep the kids out of my action movies.
The music in this one, it's got this kind of lighthearted, fun, music. It almost felt like it was Mad Max is entering the Ewok village or something. Or again, I'll compare it to Hook. It did feel like he was meeting up with the Lost Boys in their little camp where they had all the different levels and like the tree houses and all that stuff. It had that vibe to it.
Wow. Mad Max meets Hook.
Yeah, I mean, this came out way before Hook, but it also kind of had a little bit of a Army of Darkness vibe. The way that they looked at Max as this kind of mythological savior, and just the way that he acted in this was a lot different than he acts in the other ones too. He's less stoic and more just goofy. He acts more like Ash from The Evil Dead. It's odd. It's
It sounds like it.
Yeah, it's really. Tina Turner's pretty bad in it too.
No, not Tina.
But the car chase at the end's pretty badass. I liked it. Okay. Do you have anything else?
No, let's move on.
Yeah, let's move on. Let's talk about some movie predictions here. Mad Max Fury Road. You said 88, I said 96, actual 98 on that one.
Nice.
Yeah, yep. 98. On Rotten Tomatoes, it's, what do we got? 4 Rottens? Yeah, 216 fresh ratings and 4 Rottens.
Nice.
Yeah, but those 4 people feel like assholes. Well, I hope they do.
No, they're fucking loving it.
Probably, because they're getting all the attention. I'm not even going to look at who they are. All right. Pitch Perfect 2. You said 70. I said 72. Actual 68. So Pitch Perfect 2's, I guess, pretty good. Actually, it's at a 69 right now. Sorry. Changed since last night. So I guess that's worth seeing. I didn't see the first one, so.
I have no interest.
Yeah, I don't either. It's just not for me.
There's, I don't like singing to begin with, and then you make it a cappella.
Yes, yeah.
No.
I didn't mention this last week because I didn't go, but I did see Book of Mormon on Broadway last weekend.
Oh, look at you, you uppity son of a bitch.
And I gotta say, I'm not a big fan of theater. I'm not a big fan of musicals, but I was a huge fan of the Book of Mormon. Fantastic. If you ever go to New York, if you're ever in New York on a trip or whatever, go see Book of Mormon because it is well worth it. It is amazing. Like, I was in tears. I was laughing so hard at some of the stuff. It is so fucking funny, and the music is so good. I loved it. It was great. You would like it a lot. I think you would
probably.
Yeah, you would be. I think that it'd be a good movie adaptation. I think if they turn that into a movie. Do you know anything about the plot of that show?
No, I just know that I'm guessing something with Mormons.
Yeah,
which is just immediately hilarious.
I'm not gonna say what it is, but they get. I mean, it's Trey Parker, Matt Stone, so obviously they get pretty. And offensive's not the word, but they definitely crossed the line several times, and it's so funny. But I'm not going to say what it is because I didn't really know anything about the plot going into it, and I think that it's better that way if you don't know anything about what it is. Okay, let's talk about next week's movies. We got Poltergeist. This is the remake. I will say, of course, I hope that this is good because I love Poltergeist, and I want this to be good. That being said, very, very low expectations for this one. I'll say 56. And I think that is a generous prediction.
That's pretty generous. I'm going to say 52.
It just, from the trailers, it doesn't look like it has the charm of the original Poltergeist. Because the original Poltergeist, even though it wasn't directed by Steven Spielberg, it had that Amblin feel to it. I think it was produced by Spielberg. It felt like a Spielberg movie where I don't know how to describe it other than to say that Amblin feel. And I love
The funny thing is that you can
movies.
say that and I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. It's like E.T. or Goonies, those types of movies. I love the feel of those movies. And I just don't think the new Poltergeist is going to have that feeling. We also have Tomorrowland. This is the Disney one. Brad Bird.
This looks awful. This looks absolutely terrible, in my opinion.
I'm interested. I'm actually going to a press screening of this on Monday, I think. Tomorrow? Or no? No.
Go get that figured out.
Yeah, I think I'm going to see it. I think like Tuesday or something. I don't know.
It's apparently you're really looking forward to it.
It is tomorrow. Sorry, I'm interested, but I don't have high expectations. I'm more excited to see The Tribe. I'm going to see that next week.
Nice.
Yeah. What are you thinking on Tomorrowland?
Tomorrowland, 58.
I think it's going to be better than... I think it's going to be fairly well received. I'll say 68.
Okay. Optimist.
We also have, in limited release, Dishonesty, The Truth About Lies, Chocolate City. I like some Chocolate City.
What's Chocolate City?
I don't know. Sounds like a wonderful place. Or an extremely disgusting place if it's like an actual city made of chocolate because it'll get really dirty and melty.
Oh, it's about...
Don't tell me. I go ahead. I know what you're gonna say, I think.
What? It's a male strip club.
Yeah, that's...
You do
okay.
like yourself some Chocolate City.
Aloft. That's the one with...
I'm looking forward to that one. I want to see that one. I think. Let me double check real quick.
It's the one with Jennifer...
Yeah. Claudia Loza?
Yeah.
Yes. Melanie Laurent.
I have a mild interest in that one. The Farewell Party, Love at First Fight.
Ah, I see what they did there.
Yeah, sight fight, yeah. Because it rhymes.
That's why it works.
Sunshine Superman. Tanu Weds, Manu Returns.
Mm-hmm.
And The Human Centipede 3.
Oh,
final sequence.
Jesus.
Yeah, we're sending Ernie to that one, so we'll see how that goes. It looks awful. I wasn't a fan of the first two, but this one looks like an Uwe Boll movie or Trauma or something, where it's got that just super cheap looking and that really lowbrow humor that's, I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
Next week on Video on Demand, we have... Sorry, got to pull it up.
Pull it.
What is next week? Okay, we have Gaming in Color. We have Into the Grizzly Maze. That's that one with Thomas Jane and Billy Bob Thornton and James Marsden. It's like a survival about a group of hikers that are getting hunted by a grizzly bear. The Human Centipede 3 final sequence, and Winning the Racing Life of Paul Newman.
Okay.
Okay. Pretty much it. DVD and Blu-ray, American Sniper, Cymbeline, Girlhood, which I recommend. That was actually one of...
I'm pretty excited for that one. Finally.
I don't know. You're not into the coming of age movies though. I am. So I think that I'll like that one more than you, but I think you'll still appreciate it. That's actually one of my top movies of the year currently. Hot Tub Time Machine 2, which is garbage. Leviathan, yeah, check that one out.
Yeah.
And Zombievers. It's probably not worth buying, but maybe when it hits Netflix. That seems like a good Netflix watch to me. Criterion's got anything going on?
We have 1979's The Rose with Bette Midler.
Oh, okay.
It's a rock and roll, fame and addiction, all that kind of stuff, so you can imagine where that goes. I've never actually heard of The Rose, ever.
No, and I don't think I have either.
Yeah. So there's that, and there's Charlie Chaplin. Jesus.
Charles Chapman.
Ah, Charles Chapman is back.
uh,
Oh, Jesus. Charlie Chaplin, Limelight, 1950. Shut your face. Shut your face. All of you.
good stuff.
Go to hell.
Good. Let's see.
Charles Chapman.
Oh man, that's great.
From now on, I'm just gonna call him that too. I'm just gonna stick with it.
Yes. I love when we get new running gags
Yep,
on the
that's gonna run forever. It just grew legs, and it's running for the rest of our lives. So be ready for some more Charles Chapman. And I think I might change it every year. It'll just slowly evolve into something else.
Good.
I already have it all planned out, so
good.
Look forward to that, people.
You have a 5-year plan for that for that one.
I already have a vision board made and everything.
Nice, great. All right, well, I think that'll do it for this week. Next week, I'm not exactly sure what we'll be covering yet.
Let's do Fury Road.
Yeah, could just do Fury Road again. We'll probably do some VOD stuff next week. Maybe looking ahead, might do Felt because that's going to be coming out.
Oh, okay, cool.
Relatively soon. Might do The Nightmare. Are you interested in that? The Rodney Asher one?
I don't know what that is. Oh.
The documentary about sleep paralysis.
That sounds interesting.
Yeah, maybe we'll do that one. We got some stuff lined up here, so
we got all sorts of stuff that we can go with. Tomorrowland? Yeah. Are we doing Tomorrowland?
If you go see it.
No, I'm not gonna go see it.
I know you're not gonna go see it.
I can fake it.
I don't know. Maybe Ernie will see that or something, and we can have him on. I don't know. All right, that should do it for the week. Send us your questions. Podcastfilmpulse.net is the address. Follow us on Twitter @FilmPulseNet and @FilmPulseKevin. And please take a look at our Patreon page at patreon.com/filmpulse. That's patreon.com/filmpulse. And subscribe for as little as $1 per month. For Kevin Rakestraw, my name's Adam Patterson, and we'll see you on Thursday for Ryan Watches a Movie. Okay.
Shit.
What?
I was just like zoning out, and then that came out of nowhere and scared the shit out of me.
Nice.
Just all of a sudden, okay.